Oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah, so I'm excited to be here. This is the first time I've ever done this before, and yeah, thank you, thank you. Okay, so my name is Patrice Gopo, and I'm just gonna share a story with you all. So I live in a suburban neighborhood in Charlotte, North Carolina. And every morning at nearly the same time, I wake up and I go for a walk for about an hour through my neighborhood. And one particular day, about a year and a half ago, in the middle of winter, I actually woke up late that morning and I went for my walk maybe an hour and a half later than I normally do. And I was feeling really kind of weighed down with these questions of like wonder and curiosity. I was thinking, does any of the stuff that I do in the world actually matter? I was thinking, do my words matter? Do my actions matter? And so I'm just walking through the neighborhood thinking of these things. And as I round the corner and get towards kind of the end of my walk, I notice there ahead of me, playing near the mailbox, is a little child, less than 2 years old, maybe a year and a half. And she's in Disney pajamas, footless pajamas, so her bare feet are on the cold concrete, and she's wearing this thin little shirt with a Disney princess on it. And I'm looking ahead and thinking, it's kind of an odd sight. And I just think to myself, well, I'm gonna get a little closer and I'm gonna look up to the house that's there, and the door is gonna be open and there's gonna be a parent there. Some sort of adult is gonna be in the doorway. So I'm just kind of walking towards the child. And when I get to the child and I look up to the door is shut. There's nobody there. And I look around at the other houses and all the doors are shut. And you guys, there's this moment where you realize you're the person who actually has to take action here, because there's a child playing by the mailbox on the main road of our neighborhood. Her feet are bare, she's on the cold concrete, and there's nobody else around except for you. And that's when you have to do something. And so what I did is I reached down and I took her and put her on my hip, just like I've done for my other children over the years. And I went to that first door and I knocked, and a woman came out and I said, do you know this child? Do you know this child? And she looks at me and she says, no, I have no idea who that child is. I said, she's playing right by the street right now, and I don't know where she belongs. And so that woman comes out of the house and she starts knocking on doors with me. I go to the next house and there's a woman who's about to get in her car and go to work, and I ask the same question, do you know this child? Where does this child belong? She says she doesn't know either. And so she suddenly stops what she's doing and she starts knocking on doors with us, and we keep doing this, and our group is getting larger and larger until we're about 6 or 7 adults now with this little girl still on my hip. And we're walking around and we stop in the middle of the sidewalk and we kind of start thinking, what should we do next? We're not finding where this kid belongs. And people are starting to say, we need to call the police. And I'm thinking, I don't want to do that yet. I don't want to do that yet. Because you guys, here's what I believed. As a mother, I know there are times when you're home and your kid can get out and you don't know that that happens, and it doesn't make you a bad parent. It just sometimes happens. And I felt like in this moment, I had gotten up an hour late and I was the one who was with this kid, and I wanted to help that child return to the safety of her home. And so we decided we'll just try a little bit more. So we crossed the street because we had stayed on one side of the street because we didn't think that she could have possibly crossed the street. But we crossed the street and we went further down, and there was a house with a cracked door. And we thought, this is where she belongs. And so we went there and I knocked on the door, and sure enough, that mother came downstairs and had no idea. She had no idea that her child had left the house like that, crossed over the street and was playing there by the mailbox. And so this honestly would be probably a good place where we would say happy ending, the story is over. But really, I feel like the story ends a year and a half later when I'm still walking in my neighborhood. And I still stop and I see those strangers who have now become people I know, who we spent that morning looking for this little girl's home. And we stop and we make small talk in driveways. And I think both of us will stand there and we think, that day, we were part of something so much greater than ourselves. And I think to myself of that morning with my curiosity of questions and thinking about, does any of the stuff I do actually matter in the world? And the answers were there. because what we did that day, it mattered, and what we continue to do, it matters still. Thank you. Thank you.